Wayne, would you? Let's talk about that. One thing about gaff that's really important.
Stick with me, John. I'll help you.
Yeah, you're all right, Tom. All right, man, to grab the end of that wire, would you? Or that line, or something like that. Norm. Okay, you're reeling that thing in. All right, that's the back of the boat. It's coming in like here. And I may take a wrap, never more than one. Because you want, if that fish decides to take a run, you want it to come right off your hand.
John, show them how you did that. You did it with the back of your hand.
Yeah, like you shake hands with it. And see that line's not over that line? It's just like shaking hands with it.
If that fish pulls and you can't hold him, you just open your hand up and the line comes off.
Yeah, give it a big snatch.
If you just...
Yeah, my hand's safe now.
If you grab that line and you wrap it around your hand, okay, and that fish takes off, you'll cut your hand right to the bone.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen guys lose their fingers like that.
It's just think of it as shaking hands. You just grab it like that. And the big thing is this one is not over that like that. So if he pulled now, that would hurt me. But if I got it like that, give it a big pull there. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and we're now 50-something miles offshore. We spent a lot of gas money. We spent a lot of money on a boat. You spent a lot of money on rods. We spent a lot of money on these lures and all that sort of stuff. Why in the hell are you going to go to Walmart and save $2 and end up with some crappy bait? Buy the best ballyhoo you can buy, even if it's a couple, $3 more per pack. I'll put a little plug in for Island Tackle down here at Carolina Beach. That's where I buy mine. He carries fresh bait and it's good bait. And if there's nothing up there in that front cooler that looks good, tell him you want to go to the back and open a new case. But you want the best looking ballyhoo. And what you're looking for, this is thawed out, so it's a little hard to tell, but you want those eyes to be clear. You don't want a lot of frost on the inside of here, where like it's been thawed and then frozen back. And you want to see some green poop inside of that package. So guys, I'm telling you, get the best bait you possibly can. I use small and mediums. I don't use the large or the horse ballyhoos at all. These are Bionic. I use Bionic. I've just used them. I'm happy with them. So I sort of stick with something. Okay, so you've got good bait. You've got the option. The night before you can prep this bait and have it all ready. If I'm going to prep it, what I'll do is either go to the store and buy a brining solution and pay a whole lot of money for it, or I just make a mixture of salt and baking soda, because that's all in the world's in that stuff.
Kosher salt.
Yep. And I go and I get me a 5-gallon bucket of salt water, pour a bunch of that brining stuff in, take the ballyhoo out of this pack, throw them down in there, and put ice in it and let them thaw that way. That toughens them up. You can pull them all the way like that. Typical just going out for a fun trip, Wahoo fishing, I leave them frozen that morning. And when I get out about 20 miles offshore, I'll stop, just take my knife, open the pack like that. And please guys, I know y'all wouldn't do it, but don't throw this crap in the ocean. Like plastic here, you know. If you take it out there, you can certainly bring it back. But I'll open it like that, take my wash down hose, squirt salt water in here, and just let them thaw out on their own on the way out there. And I want them completely thawed. And I'll put them down in a bucket of water. And by the time I'm out there, they're thawed. Get one out.
Do they toughen up a little bit that way?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Or is it better to toughen up the way you previously talked about with it?
They'll be tougher if you do it the way I was talking about doing it the night before.
Gotta keep ice.
Hopefully,
keep it cold.
Hopefully I'm going to try to get on a bite where they're not going to stay in the water that long.
Not table salt, kosher salt. You know what kosher salt is? Buy it at the supermarket. Morton sells it. They sell it in every supermarket. It comes like a 2-pound box. It's very, very coarse salt. Like the kind of salt that's on a salted pretzel. Okay? It's called kosher salt.
Okay, this is important. Pick one out, take a look at him. Like I said, I'm not trimming the pectoral fins off. I'm not knocking the eyeballs out in this particular case. First thing I'm going to do is kind of bend him up, loosen him up a little bit like that. Next thing I do, I want to get all the inside stuff out, so I poop him. And I start at the back, I started his gills, just start working back, get all that crap out of him. Every bit I can. Okay, then I bend him. And then I bend him this way, break his back, and what I'm doing too is I'm pulling that skin away from his backbone. See now how that ballyhoo's really limber here? The goal in everything I've just done is to get that bait to come through the water swimming just as naturally as possible. And then I want to break this bill off. And there's a certain way you need to do it. You need to reach underneath it, put your index finger on top, break it right here even with the top bill, gently, and then pull it down. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm pulling a piece of skin down with it. What that did, that left me a little groove right under there for my line and my hook all to fit right up in. Okay, so this ballyhoo is prepped. It's ready to go on the hook right now. If you're using hooks that are new to you or using a different size or whatnot, one way you can do it is lay that chin weight right there at his gill plate where you want it to be when he's rigged up. And then notice here on the ballyhoo where the shank of the hook bends. That's where you want the hook to come out of the bottom of that fish. I see too many people try to get the hook, they want to stop short strikes, so they try to get the hook too far back in that bait. And what happens is that bait ends up like that. And when you pull that, that thing's just going to torpedo through the water. Take the hook, just lift up the gill plate, go in through there like I've just done. And instead of trying to thread the hook, I pretty much try to bend the ballyhoo around the, I try to bend the ballyhoo around the hook, and then I can feel with my thumb where the point is. I come out right there, shove it up in there. You see I've got a small hole? I don't have to enlarge that hole at all. And see how that chin weight is right tucked up in that gill plate? Even everything up, and this pin I left, stick it right through there, through the bottom bill, through the top bill, and if I'm using these springs, just twist that up on there, take it, and see how everything is just absolutely perfectly straight on that fish, on that bait. See how the hook's coming out dead center? Where you can see it. The hook's right in the middle. That ballyhoo will swim straight. It'll come through the water just like that. Now if you rig one and you get one to the side, the ballyhoo stays coming through the water like that on the side, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. The big thing you don't want that thing back there spinning and spinning and spinning. And that takes practice. If you decide that offshore fishing's for you, go with somebody. A lot of people are glad to show you. Get you a pack of ballyhoo and sit down and there's some videos on YouTube. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are kind of junk, but some of them are good. And look at them. But the big thing you want is you want that bait to be everything centered, dead centered, and straight, where that bait is going to swim just as naturally as possible when it's coming through the water.
Where's the end of the spring pointed? Is it up, down? Does it matter?
You can see it right here. All that spring does is just secure that. It goes over that,
so that
piece of wire that I left sticking up.
That pin and that spring are what's pulling that lure through the water, not the fish. You don't want the hook to be pulling the fish because it'll rip the belly out of the fish and it'll spin. You want that rig the way he's got it rigged. You want that pin to be towing that bait, so there's no pressure whatsoever on the hook or on the bait. Otherwise, you tear the belly out.
See that? That just twisted on this pin. The pin is right through its lower and upper bill. And you see that little small hook where that is? When I pull it, it's not pulling at all on that hook. And if you try to put the hook too far back, what's going to happen is it's going to enlarge that hole. The holes will get larger, and it's just going to wash out. It's not going. So that's how we rig them. And if I was not using that pin, just say I didn't have that spring, using rubber band, here's what I think is the best way to do this. This is too big a rubber band, but go over it this way, come around it, come around that pin that way, around it again. Now just keep going opposite ways until I get the rubber band about used up and flip it over there. And I want it on real tight. So that's how I'd use it with a rubber band if I didn't have a spring on it. Okay? Well, cool. I'll get that on their couch.
There's nothing as rewarding as spending the night before getting all your baits rigged, going out there and having something actually hit a bait that you rigged. It's a great feeling that you did it right.
It is. He's absolutely right. Very rewarding. Okay, I've covered a lot of stuff in a short period of time. So I guess this is just the basics. A lot of it is just going with people, fishing, coming up with what you feel comfortable with, what works for you. So has anybody got any kind of questions at all? I mean, there's no stupid questions at all. I'll do my best to try to answer them. Okay?
John, you ever use double hooks for Wahoo?
No. No, I don't.
So if you
One
get
thing I mentioned, we've been talking so much about these meat hooks. Here's two things that everybody ought to have in their arsenal: cedar plugs. Tom tell you about cedar plugs. He's the expert on that. He loses them and I catch them. Y'all ever heard that story?